Welcome back for another video. I hope you all had a good Gameweek 15, if not a better Gameweek 16. In this video, I'll be sharing my team, my transfer plans and captaincy for Gameweek 16. Starting off with a quick reflection of how last Gameweek went then. 70 points all out. It was a Gameweek of two halves for me, with lots of the popular picks I didn't own delivering, like Mbeumo, Isak, Lewis, Haaland, Visser, João Pedro, etc. Blanks from Raya, Vardiol, Van Heck, Semenyo, Saka, Strand Larsen and Cunha. It was really a week that underlined the power of captaincy, having been completely bailed out by Palmer for his 36 points, and to end the game, Bowen's 12 pointer as well. I can't tell you how much of a relief Bowen's haul was after he was so unlucky last game to blank the week before, so a green arrow up to 156k. I just about survived the Everton vs Liverpool postponement, Wood coming in clutch off the bench for Salah, and Van Heck came off my bench for Gabriel, who disappointed, just a 1 pointer against Leicester, having been on for a clean sheet at 85 minutes, and he went on to concede twice thereafter. 2 free transfers, there's some tough decisions to make this week. Let's get into the team. Let's have a quick look at your highs and lows sent in first actually. FPL Flying Kiwi says, sold 8 Norrie and Wood for -4 to João Pedro and Trent before the news. Also sold Isak and Mbeumo last week as a -4, finished on 24 points all out. Well, this screenshot's before Cunha played actually, so with auto subs it's 28 points. Charo Boy says, Bad Backs United got a green arrow with a clutch performance from Visser, Bowen and Collins. Had returns from 8 Norrie, Palmer, Bowen, Visser, 77 points are all out. Max says, free hitted Palmer out. The team would have got about 20 or so more points had I left my old team, 41 points all out, ouch. Another chip disaster from Hoffy as well, who says, I went from 102 points in Gameweek 14 to this. He activated the triple captain and Watkins for a 3-pointer and finished on 31 points all out, with Salah and Young forced to the bench after the postponement. Last one, Ishida absolutely smashed it with an 88-pointer and said, despite my defence being in a bit of a mess, 6 of the 7 attackers returned, including Cole captain. 88 points was absolutely huge last week, nice work. Moving on to the team for Gameweek 16 then. In goal it's Raya, with a really nice fixture on paper, home to Everton, where this week they're also the favourites for a clean sheet with a 54% chance of the Emirates. There's no denying the Arsenal defence is elite, but right now the major issue is the injuries at the back. Gabriel White, Calafiori, Zinchenko and Tomiyasu all out last match. That said, they only conceded 0.16 expected goals against Fulham on the weekend, which was the best of all teams. My back three is Vardiol, Gabriel and Pedro Porro. So yeah, a lot of us have got Gabriel, and the challenge of him is the vagueness from Arteta. You have no idea if he's fully fit or if he's out, and the logic says if the limited information we have says he could play, then holding him makes sense. Sky reported yesterday that he and Calafiori were both absent from training in the morning. It's also understood that both players are training indoors though, which does sound encouraging. My plan is to keep hold of him. It doesn't help when you watch Saliba score 2 games on the bounce as well in his absence. I'm recording before Arsenal play in the Champions League as well, and it sounds like it's very uncertain if he makes that one. It's a huge game for Arsenal though, they need a result here, or they're going to have to play more Champions League games in the new year. Let's see if he makes the squad at all. Vardiol's giving me a lot to think about right now. He's got some unbelievable fixtures coming up in a few weeks. Everton home, Leicester away, West Ham home, Brentford away, Ipswich away. He's not done much recently, but we know what an elite FPL pick he can be. He's got more goals this calendar year than any defender. From Gameweek 6 to Gameweek 10 this season, he scored 3 goals and 5. From Gameweek 33 to 36 last season, he got 4 goals, 2 assists in 5 games. His ownership's fairly low as well, and he's such a high ceiling pick, so I'd like to keep him. His appeal is very much dependent on the rest of the City defence though. Pep only had Ruben Diaz as his recognised centre-back last match, which saw Vardy on left centre-back, where he doesn't get forward nearly as much as opposed to left-back. Lewis is of course suspended for this one, so there's a good chance he plays there next match. Akanji, Stones and Ake are all flagged currently, Ake reportedly out for a few weeks. The other side of the coin is, I could sell Vardiol this week to get Trent. I'll talk more on that in the transfer plans in a bit. This could be Porro's last week in the team. Now selling him this week is one possible route to Trent, but it's daft to sell him before Southampton surely, the worst team in the league, rock bottom on 5 points, and worst for expected goals conceded. So I'm going to be keeping him this week and I hope to get lucky. Spurs need to make a statement following the recent form and that disappointing defeat to Chelsea, having led by 2 goals at one point. My midfield is Bowen, Palmer, Saka, Semenyo and Salah. Now let's get straight into captaincy. I've got it on Palmer at the moment, however this one really is a tight call. 22 of Brentford's 23 points have come in home games this season and they're playing away to Chelsea. They've been shocking on the road. They're 4th worst for expected goals conceded in away games, 6th worst overall. Fulham on the other hand are actually 2nd best in away games with 8.34 XGC and they're 5th best overall. Now Salah is having a better season overall, so it's a tight call, and we could be in for a swingy game week. Who are you going with this week, Salah, Palmer or someone else? I think I'll be stuck with Semenyo for a while, so at least he's got some good fixtures, though that lack of returns recently is not great. Home games to West Ham, Palace and Everton in the next 5. He's not eating up much budget either, so he's a luxury transfer out for me. I've got some other priorities at the moment, like buying Trent and perhaps Jackson soon. He is home to West Ham in Gameweek 16, and in fairness, he has come close to returns a couple of times in recent weeks, but I'd feel a lot better about owning him if he actually gets some points on the board soon. Bit of a bench end dilemma this week with Wood on the bench. I've got Bowen and Semenyo as the 2 possible players that I could look at to bench, but I think I can't bench Bowen after that performance last match, even if he's away at Bournemouth this week. We're 2 game weeks into the 5 game week punt that I took on him, still only 6.8% owned, so a huge upside if he can deliver again. The plan is to sell him after Southampton in game week 18 before they've got Liverpool game week 19. Salah was Liverpool's only scorer in their 1-0 away win over Girona in the Champions League from the penalty spot. He's got the vice captaincy as it stands. What do you reckon Salah and Palmer's effective ownership actually looks like for game week 16? I'm not 100% sure who's going to be the more popular captain. I think it'll probably be Salah. Let's get onto the front 2 and then we'll talk transfer plans. Leading the line this week is the Wolves double up again, Strand Larsen and Cunha. Now, it was Strand Larsen's earliest substitution of the season last match at 61 minutes, though he still outscored Cunha, who disappointed with that 1 point after getting booked. It's a great fixture though, home to Ipswich, and then they've got Leicester. They're running the team almost coming to an end now, after which point they've got such a horrendous run of games for a while. The next 2 are beyond must win for Wolves and 0-0, with Wolves currently sat in 19th place and 4 points off safety. My bench is Fabianski, Wood, Van Heck and Greaves. It's almost bench boostable to be honest. It's a bit easier for me to keep Gabriel with Van Heck for depth, playing home to Palace. If I was to bench anyone for Wood, I think it'd have to be Semenyo, but it's pretty 50-50 that one. Wood's also playing at home, but a tougher game against Villa, but Wood's on penalties, Semenyo's not. Would you bench Wood or Semenyo? So, on to transfer plans. I've got 2 free transfers and 0.2 mil in the bank. There's a lot of ways I could go now. So Porro and Vardiol to Colwell and Trent looks pretty great, but is that definitely an upgrade this week? I'd be losing Porro before Southampton, and I'd be losing Vardiol, who could be worth holding still. Wood to Rao and Vardiol to Trent also works this week, though again I'd be losing Vardiol, and I'm a bit on the fence about Rao as a pick. He does have Southampton home in game week 17, but after being benched against Brighton in that busy period, does he start all December games? I might take the chance on him anyway next week. So the current plan is to roll the transfer and get myself up to 3 transfers. A quick look at game week 17. One option here is Cunha to Rao and Porro to Trent with exact money, so I'd be counting on price changes for this to work. This lets me retain Vardiol, plus Trent and Gabriel as my premium back 3. I quite like this, though again I do wonder if Rao's benched at some point this month. He does have Southampton home, Bournemouth home and Ipswich home as his next 4 from there, which is really good, so there's lots of potential anyway. Alternatively, I'd delay Trent another week and I'd go just Porro to Colwell, and then in game week 18 it'd be Cunha to Stewart and Van Heck to Trent. So I won't buy Trent any later than that. I'd run for 4-5-1 for 1 week if I do that, with Strand Larsen on the bench. And then in game week 19 it'd be Bowen out before he's got Liverpool to someone like Rodgers or Enzo, and then Strand Larsen to Jackson. I'm really undecided which path I like most, so if in doubt just roll. That's the plan for game week 16 as it stands, and I'll reassess next week. Which path do you like most? Anyway, let's wrap up there. Hit like before you go and make sure you're subscribing for more FPL content before the deadline. See you soon for the next one.